Hello, Lee. I'm going to get right into it tonight. Hi, how are you?
Hey Donnie, how you doing?
I'm good, doing well. How are you?
Okay, okay. And I wrote something
Yeah,
new for you this week. Yes.
it sounded like it. It sounded exciting. So,
We'll see.
okay, I like it. All right, I'm going to get right into it so we have
Okay,
enough time for everyone.
great.
Um, but it's good to see you,
You
and
too,
I'm
as
excited for
always.
the story.
Okay, thank you. This is called Waiting for the Suzuki-Goulds. There comes a point in every day when I wonder if what's happening is real. It's also absurd that I have to think it's possible that one day I'll wake up and find out it was all just a dream. In the meantime, if this nightmare has taught us anything, it's that anything is possible, which is why I'm still not sure if the Suzuki-Goulds ever really existed. You see, for the last few weekends, my friend Trae and I have been meeting in real life to sit, masked several feet apart and socially distant, and enjoy the greatest of New York City pastimes, people watching. There we were just a few weeks ago shooting the breeze by the Gertrude Stein statue in Bryant Park when the Suzuki-Goulds first appeared like a Wes Anderson movie sprung to life. They walked up the ramp, meandered past us, and sat on a bench just a few feet away. After a good half hour of them doing nothing in particular while Trae and I stole glances in mesmerized silence, Trae said, "Are you seeing this?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." To us, they were a most fantastical family, and we had them all to ourselves. The elderly father was fairly nondescript. He wore a black tee with black pants and sandals so his gnarled toes could roam free. But the mother was something else. Although she was hard to see beyond her floppy hat and Jackie O sunglasses and the yellow hair that might have been a wig that hung down over her shoulders. She looked like she never cracked a smile nor let even a hint of skin stand naked in the sun. And then there was the son or daughter in black shorts and a black tee like their father, but with black surgical gloves wielding a play sword like a pirate straight out of the Caribbean. They might have been 8 or 9 and had a close cropped light brown mohawk with curls and played happily alone while their parents sat in silence on the bench. Trey and I were overjoyed to see them again the following weekend. A magnificent double feature on Saturday and Sunday. Same clothes, same unmasked faces. Again, they walked up the ramp then the parents sat wordlessly by Gertrude Stein while their child staged a sword fight with an invisible foe. A short time later, they walked away, the kids skipping ahead of them, swashbuckling through the air as they left the park. It rained the following Saturday, but when we saw them on Mother's Day, the Suzuki-Goulds really came alive. Trey and I set up shop, snagging a table with a beeline to Gertrude Stein. When I saw the sword lead the charge up the ramp, my heart actually jumped. But they didn't stay. They never sat on the bench. They just ambled by Gertrude Stein, exited the park, and never looked back. But it was then that Trey and I began to tell each other their story. You see, the father, John Ellis Bennington Gould, or Johnny B. Gould, is a successful art dealer and lives with his business partner and wife, Yuki Suzuki, and their child, Terry Ellis, in the brownstone next door to the Bryant Park Hotel. Terry Ellis is a germaphobe, maybe on the spectrum, and has gender identity issues that have positively befuddled their father. Yes, the Suzuki-Goulds have been hit hard as of late, what with the pandemic, Yuki Suzuki's recent lupus diagnosis, and, although we don't talk about it much, that pesky opium addiction John picked up during those drug-fueled art buying sprees he went on with Dennis Hopper back in the day. You never know when that shit's going to flare back up. Trey and I had grown very attached to the Suzuki-Goulds and were concerned by their abrupt Mother's Day departure. We decided to meet the next Saturday at 12:30 in anticipation of their usual entrance around 2, just after Terry Ellis's Zoom piano lesson, Yuki Suzuki's online restorative yoga class, and John's office hours, during which he holes up, chases a dragon, and stares at avant-garde art. Trey and I sat, masked several feet apart and socially distant, just behind Gertrude Stein. On the table was this talisman, which we decided Terry Ellis had left for us as a signal that they'd see us later. We waited and fretted, taking turns gazing like sentinels over to the ramp to see if they were on their way. But then 2 o'clock came and went, and the Suzuki-Goulds, just like Beckett's Godot, never came. I met Trey back at the park with the newly disinfected talisman on noon on Sunday, convinced they'd return. They just had to. But as the clock ticked and the Suzuki-Goulds never showed, Trae and I were inconsolable, which was actually fine because it's hard to console anyone while seated masked several feet apart and socially distant anyway. But we were distraught. What had we done to deserve this? Why had the Suzuki-Goulds forsaken us? And then it dawned on us. Maybe they were a figment of our collective imagination, an optical illusion, like all the masked faces and the boarded up stores and takeout only restaurants, the shuttered theaters and long lines outside Trader Joe's. Perhaps Trae and I were daydreaming an escape from this life we're now living, and the Suzuki-Goulds were just a story we told each other to try to root this ridiculous time in some kind of reality. Susan Sontag once wrote, "But just wait until now becomes then. You'll see how happy we were." Yes, in hindsight, most things look better when they're in the past. But will a pandemic? When this is over, if it ever ends, how will we remember it? Will we think about the 7 o'clock cheers for those on the front lines? Or will we recall the armed, angry maniacs threatening governors on Capitol steps? Or will we remember the Suzuki-Goulds and those sun-dappled spring afternoon flights of fancy that imbued in us a bit of whimsy during a time of relentless remoteness and isolation? I asked Trae, if we could go back to the park this Saturday to try again. And if they don't come, he asked, we'll come back Sunday, I said. And then the day after, possibly, I said, and so on. And that's it. I love that. I'm so glad you know how to whistle. Thank you, Donnie.
Oh, yeah, that was great. I think I'm going to, when I get rid of this beard, try that mohawk the kid had.
Yeah, it's every word is true. It's we're gonna go back again this weekend and hope we find them again.